It wasn't until I got the job at Red Bank that people actually started talking to me properly. I've spent a lot of years on the outside looking at this circle, this specialty coffee circle of people. I've been working in coffee now for 15 years, and I spent a lot of that time wanting to be in that conversation, but not feeling like I could or not feeling invited to, and I would actually go and put myself. I remember at Manchester Coffee Festival walking up to this group of guys that were all stood around laughing, and I knew like two of them kinda, and I walked over and I stood. I'd had a couple of wines and it was awkward, but I made myself part of the conversation. I was annoyed. I was annoyed that there was this little club going on and I wasn't a part of it. And I was like, I deserve to be part of that club. I think it's really interesting that a lot of people say to me, oh, you're such a confident person. But I just think it's important people know that I'm riddled with anxiety. I definitely spend a lot of time worrying about what's going to happen, but still throw myself into it anyway. So it's this classic thing people talk about, right? That a man will look at a job description and be like, I can do 3 out of 10 of those things, I'll give it a go. A woman might look at that same job description and be like, I can only do 3 out of 10 of those things, so therefore I cannot do this job. And that had happened basically, where I saw that job and was like, oh well, I don't have a proven record of increasing sales or whatever. LinkedIn and Instagram have basically been my CV for the past maybe 6 or 7 years of my career. Since then, I have got my last two, this job and my last job, based on people within the industry knowing what I'm up to and knowing a little bit of like who I am from how I present myself on social media. I don't think it's fair that the industry works like this. I don't think that it's fair that sometimes it's right place, right time, or that you have to make people aware that you're interested in working for them.
Burn it down to the ground, stamp it out and start again.
Hello, B.
Hey.
How's it going?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
I mean, I'm kind of like mind blown by the things I've learned this morning already. Like bowling and
Who knew I had
your hands
such
being
specific expertise?
Well, that's what we're here today to learn about.
Bowling expertise.
And your expertise in life, which we're excited to hear about. I had the pleasure of seeing you very recently.
Yeah.
Less than a week ago.
Yes.
After you'd had quite a stressful day. I don't know if it's too soon.
No, we can definitely talk about spending 7 hours on 5 different trains to get to London when it was supposed to be 2.5 hours on one train.
There was a cupping happening in Canary Wharf at the lovely 640 East.
There was indeed, yeah.
What time did you set off?
My train was supposed to be, it set off on time at 11:15. I was supposed to get into London for 2:30. No, that's a lot sooner than that. Anyway, that's beside the point. I did not make it in time for that meeting. There was at 2 something, and instead I arrived half an hour late to the 6 o'clock cupping.
Look, what then ensued was just actually a grand entrance.
That's true.
I think.
It's nice when you arrive into a building and everyone whoops and applauds you. I would like to request that for all future cuppings, please.
It has to happen. This is why you just need to be a little bit late to every event that you hold.
Actually, that's
then
my first tip for aspiring baristas, is be 10 minutes late to every shift. No, don't do that, no.
And make sure people give you an applause as you
and
walk
request
in.
an applause. It should be in the contract, yes.
But it was an amazing time.
Oh, thank you. Good.
I'm always so in awe whenever I go to like Canary Wharf, because it just doesn't look like a real place.
No.
And also get so lost when I come out of that station, so that probably didn't help you
It's
either.
also really far away from everything.
Far away from everything.
But really nice opportunity to, first of all, so lovely that yourself and other people from the coffee industry made the journey to Canary Wharf to come in, listen to me and Halls talk about coffee, but also nice to meet like people from a different side of London as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of coffee events happen in certain patches within the city.
Yes.
So it's nice to reach a different audience. And there was a bunch of people from Well Grounded there, which was really nice as well. What a treat.
I am very excited to hear about your story today. But as this is episode 1 of series 2...
Oh my gosh, is it?
We did just say that you had listened to... hadn't yet completed M's episode, which was
haven't.
the last one. But they introduced me to this new concept, which if it's okay with you, I'm going to bring to all podcasts in future, which is a audio description of ourselves to kind of give... I'm a visual learner, so if you're like most listeners do listen on just the audio version. There is a YouTube version if anyone prefers visuals, but also maybe some people wouldn't be able to watch.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how do you feel about joining me in an audio description of ourselves?
That's lovely. Sure.
Also, when they asked me to do this last time, I was like I just became very nervous, and I was like, oh, describe myself. How do I do that? But so I can go first if that's...
Please lead by example.
I am a feminine presenting human with short pink hair. There's a lot of eyeliner happening.
It's stunning.
Thank you. I have a fully pink outfit on, which is full length pink, silky sort of dress, pink, mildly leopard print blazer situation, if you look closely enough, and a pink silky scarf, and then black cowboy boots.
Cowboy boot.
Also to say, I didn't think about the surroundings we're in today, but I am the same colour as the wall behind me.
You are.
Which is fantastic.
I painted it this morning just so that when you arrived you would feel at home as someone who usually wears pink.
Well, thank you.
My
very
turn?
much. Your turn, if you're happy
Sure.
with that.
I am also a feminine presenting person with short blonde hair. Strawberry blonde, I'm going to say, for definition. I have leopard print shoes on with red laces, which are new and a little bit squeaky, so I hope that they don't squeak throughout this entire interview.
Unless you're going to start dancing or something. I mean, I don't...
You don't know.
Hey, anything could happen here.
But if I do, you have to describe the dance to the audio listeners. I'm wearing a orange, burnt orange, amber-coloured linen dress and a blue scarf.
The specifics were wonderful there.
Thank you.
I'm thinking I wasn't specific enough, but I'll work on that.
That's all right.
For future episodes.
You should.
Thank you for joining me.
Do better. No.
Yeah. Always. Oh my God. So your coffee life started with a frappuccino and a plastic sleeve of CVs.
It did. So when I went to Leeds College of Art when I was 16 to 18, and when it came to finishing that, it was summer, and all my friends were kind of like, enjoying their summer before they go off to uni, and I'd made the decision not to do that, and so my mum sent me packing into town, into Leeds city centre, with a plastic sleeve of printed CVs.
That is... I feel like that just unlocks quite a core memory for me as well. I think everyone must have gone out with a plastic sleeve.
With a wad of printed CVs that at this point had a Christmas temp Marks and Spencer's job on it. Lots of things like babysitting, getting a specific certificate in dance leadership when I was in high school. Like key qualifications.
It's all
for a career at 18.
Look, you were going out into Leeds that day. Did you know what you were really looking for?
Yeah, I was looking to go shopping. I was in such a mood that my mum had sent me into town to go look for a job when everyone else was going off and, in my opinion, going off and enjoying their summer, and I had to get a job. So spoilt. And so I got off the train at Leeds train station, and I was like, well, if I have to go do this, then I'm going to get a frappuccino. And I didn't like coffee, so it was a caramel cream frappuccino with all the whipped cream and all the drizzles and all the sugar, basically. I, was stood there, and I was like, oh, caramel cream frappuccino, please. And then I was like, looking at this awkward sleeve of CVs in my hand, and I was like, oh, you don't have any jobs, do you? And at that moment, the manager was actually, sounds odd, crouched down on the floor, looking through other CVs, because in this space there wasn't an office, there wasn't anywhere really for us to hang out other than it was a kiosk in Leeds train station, so there was nowhere. Anyway, so she kind of like, almost like a cartoon character, popped up from behind the blueberry muffins and was like, what hours are you looking for? Anything. What hours can you work? Anything. Can you start at 6 o'clock in the morning? Sure. So the very next day I had an interview. Then the day after that I had a trial shift. And then the day after that I started working at the Starbucks.
That's
I think. Yeah. I think it's because I was just like, I'll do anything. I'll be anyone. I just need a job, which is very handy because I actually lost, I don't know if my mother knows this, she's about to find out.
Oh, God.
I actually lost my pile of CVs. I think I left them in a changing room in H&M. Because I did just go shopping for the rest of the day. I also, every shop I was in was like, do you have any jobs? But
look, you were combining what you loved with
an absolute
the task
passion for trying on clothes in H&M
Yes.
with trying to find a job, for sure.
Imagine the person who found your pile of CVs.
I know.
That's
I
quite
know.
exciting.
I'm a little bit worried that they had all of my data, my details.
So at Starbucks,
Yes,
you were baristaing
I was.
and fairly quickly became supervisor.
Yeah.
Is there a knack to that?
A knack to that.
Progression?
I don't know. I think so. I was a barista for 6 months before I became a supervisor. I had actually asked my boss. I think it felt much longer at the time, I have to say, when I looked back and saw, when I was looking, I don't know, back through my CV or whatever, and I saw that after 6 months I'd become a supervisor. I thought, oh, actually, that's very quick. But it didn't feel like it at the time. I'd actually asked earlier than that my manager if I could be a supervisor. And she'd said no, been like, you're not ready. And I was like, how am I not ready? I've been doing this job for so long. But yeah, I guess was persistent and took on the feedback that she had given as to why I wasn't ready, which is probably because it had only been a couple of months. And took on that feedback and then done what she had asked me to do. I can't recall what it was. Probably it was to take on some, I guess, like leading role within the team, to kind of like show that I have the capacity to be able to train new people or to take charge of a shift, which when you're in a tiny box kiosk store there's not that many staff. And when one of the three of you is already supervisor, a bit more difficult. But yeah, I did that, and then when another opportunity came up where they needed a supervisor, I guess I just was quite persistent and then was given the chance.
And you, with that job as well, this is like one of the benefits of working for a larger sort of coffee chain, is that you can quite easily get transferred to another shop in a different city.
Yeah, well, at least that was the case. I don't know if it's different now because a lot of Starbuckses are franchised, but it definitely was the case then that a lot of people did move between stores either within a city or across the country or even globally. I know people that moved to different countries in Europe and were able to get like a transfer, whether it was an official transfer or whether it's just that because they had that skill set of working in a Starbucks in the UK, it's very applicable. A lot of what Starbucks is, the model of it, is copy and paste across everywhere. That's what makes them so efficient. That's what makes the standard quite high in terms of cleanliness and service, is that there's a model that's been created and it's just applicable everywhere, which means if you are a good barista at Starbucks, it's then applicable wherever you go.
Yeah.
Most of the machines work identically. The layout of the entire store is usually identical. The drinks are all identical.
Incredible.
So it's a good, or it was at the time, a good place to be. So I worked in Leeds at Starbucks for a couple of years, and then I decided I would try university. So I moved to Nottingham to go try uni at Trent Army, and and yeah, just literally told my manager. They got in touch with managers in Nottingham, organised it for me. I went and met with the manager at the new store I was moving to. Obviously, they needed to check that I was someone they wanted to employ in their store. And then, yeah, I just moved seamlessly across, it felt like. And then...
So good.
And then when university didn't work out, after 3-4 months, I then very seamlessly moved back to Leeds and continued working at Starbucks, but in Leeds.
Which I think from talking to different people on the podcast so far, and a lot of people's journeys, one way or another, do start at like the Starbucks or Costa, you know, kind of an accessible route into coffee that obviously seems to have worked, because a lot of people then either just come back around later in life or just stay in coffee the whole time. I think it's something we should note of, like, they've gotten people into the industry one way or another, and then kind of like in your situation, if you'd actually have been working in a specialty shop and then you had to find another specialty shop when you were at uni and then moving back, would that job have still been available? Maybe not, if there's only a few in your team. It is like quite a robust like model.
Definitely.
For people to have work and be able to move around with it and kind of be quite adaptable.
Definitely,
really cool.
Yeah. You know, so many people that I worked with were not using it, but reaped that benefit from working there.
Yeah.
It's a part of a lot of people in the specialty coffee industry's like origin story is they came from a Costa or a Nero or a Starbucks, and yet it feels like it's looked down upon, or people are like, oh, but you know, it wasn't like this specialty coffee shop in, I don't know, Manchester City Centre. But so much, you learn so much. It wasn't the happiest years of my life, maybe. You know, I'm not saying that it's like so glamorous, but it was my uni years. It was my social life. I learned a lot. I dealt with all sorts of different customers, and it's a real vital part of my career step. I mean, I did 4 years at Starbucks by the end, like whether that was part-time or full-time in a barista or a supervisor role, like 4 years of hell, no, of variety, but also consistency.
Yes, consistency, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, it's teaching you to be talking to people in a certain way, serving people in a certain way. Yeah. And that's very transferable as a skill. Definitely.
They have really strong customer service tactics, and I don't always agree with them, because they meant that a lot of the time I was saying yes to customers, even when this customer was like upsetting me or not being very fair. The whole concept is that you just say yes. Yeah. So I definitely found that to be challenging, but it really did instill a lot of like customer service skills in me from the get-go.
So important. And I don't want to skim over the uni part.
Sure.
I don't know if when we've spoken about uni before, it kind of resonates with my own story bits, and maybe I'm projecting, but because I know you've said in the past like uni didn't feel like it was for you. But also doesn't sound like you were given the right level of encouragement as a student.
Yeah.
Which is something I can definitely relate to. Is there a comment in particular that stuck out?
Yeah. So when I went to university, I definitely did that because I felt like I had to, like I should do it. I think that a lot of people our age, I think we're a similar age, were encouraged. We're encouraged to go to university, and that was kind of like seen as what you do if you're intelligent, it's what you do if you're smart, and it's going to get you ahead in your career, and it's going to have all this value.
Yeah.
So I felt like I wanted to, like I'd come to that conclusion on my own, and I applied to Nottingham Trent to do decorative arts. I also applied to De Montfort University in Leicester as well to do a similar course, but I'd been told that the one at De Montfort was, the one at Trent was like really high quality, like really hard to get into, like the one that I would get the most out of. The reason I did a course like decorative arts as well is because what I wanted to do was create, like I wanted to produce art, I wanted to play around with clay and learn how to, you know, use wood and how to make jewellery and be able to have a very tactile degree where I did lots of things with my hands. But in my interview, when I took my portfolio, there was a lecturer or a tutor who basically called my work naive and said that I'd probably get in anyway because they had a quota to meet for mature students. And at the age of, I think I was 20 or 21, I was classed as a mature student, which is insane. And honestly, like, so I got in, I accepted it and I went. But that comment had been so disarming to me. And I bring it up because it still like hurts me, like it still knocks me back, knocks my confidence down a lot. It really did, like, how dare this one person impact my life so much? But I really struggle to tap into my creativity all the time or feel confident to even try picking up a pencil to draw again because I just have this feeling of like, oh, well, it's probably not going to be that good.
Yes, which is the absolute killer of creativity if you just think, well, what's the point of even starting, right? Like, it's absolutely bizarre. It just troubles me deeply that I think about how much student loan debt we are in collectively. I know that there's like a sense of like realism that has to be in these structures of educating people in a certain way, but it's what were they hoping to gain from saying that, you know? And also, why shouldn't your creativity have been naive at 20? Like, realistically, how much time would you have actually spent? Were they expecting you to be a fully fledged artist who was doing this and that and whatever? Like, that is the point of going to university, is to hone your style and your craft and your skills and to learn.
I think I generally got the feeling that that's it, that I wanted to go to university to learn skills, to learn how to be able to do all of these different crafts and these different ways of working with materials. But what I struggled to do was find a course that, you know, maybe I didn't look further enough, maybe other people have been able to find this, but all I could find was courses where you kind of already had to have that,
right? But
you had to then develop it further or be able to, like, it was very much having to prove where your creativity had come from. Like, you had to design something and then kind of say how you got there.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn how to make stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn how to make a ceramic pot. I wanted to learn how to, like I say, make jewellery. I guess it's just not one size fits all.
Yeah.
And I always say that university didn't serve me because I just feel like there wasn't a structure that was the way that I learned. There wasn't and the tutors have got a lot of pressure to get people to, get certain grades, or they had a lot of students across the 3 years of the course. There was like 60 people in my year doing this course, and there was like one lathe in the workshop.
What's a lathe?
A lathe is...
I'm like, I've never heard that word
A
before.
lathe, duh! A lathe is basically this machine where you attach a piece of wood, usually wood, to it, and it spins that wood around, and then you use tools to then be able to like carve the wood as it's spinning. So you'd hold like your chisel really close to it, and as it spins, it would just really fast. It would just like start to cut off. So you could make things like table legs.
Great. And that also sounds like you can't just know how to use that.
Well, no.
You need a lot of
You
training.
need time on it. You need time, on the
it.
machine.
There's only one to go around
There's
everyone.
60 people in my year, 3 years of a course. The
Amazing.
third year students get priority over using any of the equipment. Essentially an underfunded course for the amount of students that they put on it. I could go on complaints, I won't.
But it is sad and like very frustrating. And I think why that really stuck out with me as well is like I have a comment that really stuck with me from uni, which is quite funny now considering what I'm doing on the podcast and that kind of thing. So I've studied fashion photography. Maybe similarly, I didn't even research different universities. I just thought London College of Fashion is the #1 place to go and do fashion photography. I think in a similar vein, like the studios were kind of like below par. Like they didn't need to spend any money dressing up because they already had so many people applying for this place. And you think, oh, it's really hard to get into, so that must mean best course.
Yeah.
Anyway, aside from all of that, I was presenting my final major project to the whole year and the lecturers and the head of photography. When I think about that, I'm like, oh yeah, this man was the leader in the subject that I was studying at this top university. So at the age of 21, why am I not going to take I'm going to take everything that he says as like gospel, right? This is like who I'm here to learn from. And I think, the themes surrounding my podcast, it's always been something that's attracted me. Even when I wasn't involved in coffee, it was more about representation of women in fashion. And he said to me, you can't base your project solely around the experiences of women because you have to think about men as well.
Sorry.
But right.
What about the poor men?
What about the poor men? Exactly. But also, I just think, sorry, said no artist or photographer ever. Like, the whole point of making art is give your experience to the world. Like, how am I going to portray a man's experience, Like, it's absolutely bizarre. But then, after that, I really took that on board, completely then was like, oh my God, what do I do now? And then just, went to work in coffee. And it wasn't just that one thing that he said, right? It was a lot of things. But, like, I think these comments, I do wonder if those lecturers, heads of whatever, people who have this power over choosing what is a huge thing at the time of like you thinking about your future and like what you're about to
and you're in a very vulnerable place as well, like to present 100%. Art as your portfolio to someone to assess whether or not you are good enough to attend a course is a very vulnerable thing to do. To share anything you've created in general is a very vulnerable thing, whether you've written something and you want to share it with someone, or whether you created music or you painted a picture. It's a bit of yourself that you put into that. And so to share that with people and to purposely give it to someone to criticize as well, or to measure you on, is that like such a vulnerable place to be in for then someone to take advantage of or to be selfish in that. I found this tutor in particular, for my experience, was just clearly in a mood and being selfish and like, you know,
She's
seemed
not okay.
pissed off with the world, not me, but it was me being very vulnerable in that situation that got the brunt of it. And although I tell myself this, it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. But
No, of course.
he, you know, it's a common theme, didn't understand the power he had in that situation.
Yes, absolutely. Which people need to know, especially in the form of someone, you paying someone to like critique what you're doing or to learn from.
Or I feel like a lot of people get put in positions of power that don't have the skill set, like people skills maybe. So maybe like he needed to learn how to provide feedback constructively to people, or how to leave your shit at home and be a professional. I don't know.
You'd hope that comes with teacher training, but who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? After Starbucks,
Yeah.
you went to do something that was actually a little bit like mixing coffee and management with
Creativity.
arts
Yeah.
practice. You're working in a pottery painting cafe.
I was.
Skipton.
I was.
Do you think that period of working with lots of different people from different ages has helped give you a bit of...
It's really informed my... Yeah. I don't think there is a job that I've done that I haven't learned lots from. There isn't a job that I have that I haven't been able to like glean some information or like hone in a skill from. Even if it's been a job that I've not necessarily enjoyed, there's always something that like there is to learn, and that's such a cliche, but it's so true. And now that I'm a trainer, I really do reflect on those experiences to inform what people might like to learn. So I got a job at managing a pottery painting cafe. So the weekday staff were predominantly women who were 20, 30 years my senior, and then the weekend staff were predominantly teenagers that had like a Saturday job. And it really was a change from working and managing at Starbucks, because there was pretty much an average age at Starbucks between like, I don't know, 18 and 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
Weekdays, I was having to manage a team of people that had way more experience than me in hospitality, way more experience than me in that specific cafe. And then the kids that were working the weekend, some of them were their children of the weekday staff. And a lot of them their parents were friends with the owners or whatever. So it was a bit of a challenge to learn how to manage those people, those different people. And there's a lot of stories that I tell. Like, for example, there was this one girl who started working for us. She was 16. It was her first job. She came from a pretty affluent family, and when, you know, most of them, we started them working like on pot wash, and then they'd graduate to waitressing, and then they'd graduate to working on the coffee machine. When she graduated from pot wash to waitressing, I was like, here's your pad and pen. It was table service. Here's your pad and pen. I want you to go take the order from table 6. She walked over and she stood there and she was chewing a gum, and she went, "What do you want?" I was like, "Get back here. Get back here right now. Get right back here." I was like, okay, you can't assume that anyone knows how to take someone's order, even if they've watched other people do it for however many months, even if they have been a customer in that environment. You can't assume that anyone knows how to do that. So then I had to coach her through how to take an order, how to speak to a customer, how to write down an order so that they could hand it to the cook, like how to, you know, all these things that you really take for granted. Yeah. If either you have that skill naturally, or that you've worked in a job for long enough that it's just become second nature. A lot of people forget what it's like to be in your first job. Yes. Interacting with people.
Yeah, I mean, how does anyone...
And that's not even taking into consideration managing conflict, or a difficult customer, or a question that's like unusual, like fielding questions. That's just how to go and take an order.
100%.
And I was shocked. I was like, I can't believe she just did that. And then I was like, actually, like, you only know what you know. I say that a lot. You only know what you know. And she didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Why would she have?
Yeah.
Right.
And then next step was teaching her how to vacuum the carpet, but that was a whole other.
But again, if no one's ever showed
Yeah.
you how to
Yeah.
do those things,
Exactly.
I think I take it for granted a lot because both my parents have only ever worked in hospitality their entire lives. Growing up, going to a cafe, going to a restaurant, my dad would just be like pointing these things out, which is, I mean, have a day off, but
Yeah, but that's totally me now.
so I grew up around him being like, oh,
Yeah.
that person shouldn't have walked through the restaurant empty-handed. Like, there's stuff on that table
Oh my
they should have
God.
taken with them.
Such a gripe. Yeah. God, I hate that.
I'm also thinking like, come on, Dad, like, you know, you're here to have a nice time, not
Yeah,
to be a
yeah.
manager. But you know, those are things that stuck with me. If that person, you know, never had anyone saying that, or even ever had anyone saying you should have hoovering the house, why would they know that?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
But also, such a good point for them coming to that place and learning quite
Yeah, for
vital
sure.
life skills.
And she worked there for 2 years before she went to uni, and she was then set up to, when she moved away for uni, to get a job in hospitality elsewhere, and to, or whether it's not in hospitality, you know, speaking with people, even one day a week can really, build up your social skills, build up your confidence. That was a big
100%.
thing, is a lot of the 16-year-olds would come very low in confidence.
Yeah.
To speak public, because that's what it is, it's public speaking, really.
Yeah.
To take ownership of the situation and to guide a customer through the experience. So that's why one of the things that I'm doing here at North Star is creating training courses to touch on these aspects that don't necessarily come naturally to people, such as the soft skills course, like a customer service and soft skills training course that should hopefully give people like a bit of a leg up in terms of that kind of confidence. Also, I would like to eventually put on like a summer school, so like a 6-week course for students to be able to do, to then be equipped with a skill that can then take them to get their job when they go to university, or not.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
most, some people do not.
Yeah.
But yeah, to like, you know, take that opportunity of the summer holidays to be able to upskill.
So important. Like, especially for even maybe just getting people interested in hospitality as something that might be for them. Because if you haven't been in this position of going into Leeds City Centre with a plastic wallet
Sleeve of CVs.
CVs, that's so hard to say.
It is.
Yeah, like you might also not even consider it, but I think it's such an important thing to go and do at some point. I think what you were saying about even just like learning social skills, I fully relate to that. And I mean, I'd worked in hospitality since I was 15, but when I started working in specialty coffee after uni, which is like nearly 8 years of...
Let's not do the maths.
Let's not do the maths. Yeah, let's not. I fully feel like that experience working in that coffee shop after I'd finished uni was like so much more beneficial for even me just working out like how to talk to people.
Yes.
Which actually, one of the big downfalls that I found at university was I had no idea how to network. They didn't teach networking.
No.
But for what I was doing, I really needed to know how to do that. Now, I would say I'm fairly good at networking.
I would agree.
I don't see it as something that's daunting most of the time. There was times at university I walked into a room that was supposed to be for networking. It wasn't like scripted networking at all. It was just lots of people in a room and you just had to go and talk to them. I just walked straight back out half the time because I didn't know what to do. Working in a coffee shop, something about that just made me go, oh, I can just talk to people about whatever. I don't have to have a big, I don't know, something.
The art of chit-chat.
The art of chit-chat. You can just ask someone what they're having for dinner.
Some people find small talk really daunting, but actually it is so useful to help people feel comfortable, at ease, to help people feel invited into a space.
Yes.
I reflect on that when I go get my hair cut. It's all small talk. I only get my hair cut every 3 months. And so when we go, it's not like we're building a relationship, but it's not like I'm there every month.
Yeah.
So we are catching up on the last quarter of the year of our lives. A lot of it's small talk. Where have you been on holiday? Where are you going on holiday?
Right.
Those kind of bits which are not important in terms of us being productive all the time and always learning something, always doing something beneficial. But actually it's really important for just generally feeling comfortable, feeling at ease, feeling like you're sharing something. Sharing stories is important.
Yes, hence why we are here today.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even do that on purpose.
Whoa, all the way back round to where we started. After Pottery Painting Cafe, I see this sort of theme happening where there's coffee happening on the one side, simmering away, and then there's this love for and skills in art as practice. Yeah. And the next step for you kind of had to weigh up two options. One more specifically in coffee and one more specifically in teaching but in art.
I think because I'd gone to art college twice, I went back for a year before I tried university. And because I'd always considered myself a creative person, an artistic person, I really always feel drawn to doing something creative. And I was looking at, again, the trajectory of my life. Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? I've never been someone that has a plan. I've never had a future plan, but I've always, I guess, questioned where I am and what I'm doing and whether or not it feels like the right place to be for me. And I was like, am I done with hospitality? Am I done with it? At this point, I never considered those jobs coffee jobs. It was hospitality jobs. I wasn't really into my coffee.
Sure.
I drank caramel lattes because they were
So
sweet
valid.
and sugary and delicious.
And
I think they were only like one shot of coffee in them as well. So I was looking at what kind of job I could do in an art direction and found a job as basically like an art technician in a high school.
Amazing.
To be able to support the art teacher to deliver the sessions, so prep the materials, things like that. And I had the interview and I was going to say that I completely bullshitted my way through it. I didn't. I just maybe bent the truth a little bit and say it when they were like, oh, do you know how to do such and such technique? I was like, sure, yeah.
Of course.
And I knew what the technique was and I understood the principles of it. Had I ever done it before? No.
Fine.
Would I YouTube it before lesson? Probably.
Which is all you need to do.
But at the same time, I was applying for other jobs and I applied for a job as an assistant manager at a coffee shop in Leeds City Centre, which is where I was living at the time, in Leeds City Centre. And it was in a specialty coffee shop, which was well renowned in the city. And I applied for both and I got both jobs. And I was like, well, what do I do now? The big question, do I leave hospitality and go follow this route of probably into teaching? Or do I stick with hospitality? And it was one of those moments where I went with my gut.
Great.
Listened to my gut, which made me excited. There was the sensible choice and the exciting choice, which has happened a few times in my career, and I always pick the exciting choice.
I mean, I think we should be encouraging more of the exciting choices and less of
if you can.
If you can.
Because not everyone has that kind of privileged position to be in where you can make that choice. Sometimes you have to take the sensible choice.
Yes, absolutely. But if the choice is there and you can take either, I think, taking the one that feels more exciting to you, 100% is prioritising just your daily enjoyment of life.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you were working in this specialty place. Was that the start of your love for specialty coffee?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So I whilst I was working there, I went to Darkwoods Coffee Roasters and had kind of like an introduction to specialty coffee day, and had what term I usually use is the epiphany coffee that changed my life.
God.
And of course, very bougie, it was a Panamanian geisha.
Of course.
Made as a V60 pour over to show me what coffee could be, which tasted like tea.
Tasted like tea, absolutely.
And I was still being a vanilla or caramel latte girly, started managing this specialty coffee shop, or assistant managing it, and then had this coffee and was like, what? This is coffee, what? And then my curiosity for learning more about it started. So it also was, that day I learned about dialing in, espresso, and kind of more context about where coffee comes from and everything, which is such an amazing moment, and which is what I love about training people, is that I get to now provide that moment for people.
Amazing.
Very selfishly, I want that. I want to relive that over and over again. I want to be everyone's epiphany moment. I want them to be like, you know what, my epiphany moment was with B.
The future of coffee is in your hands.
Yes, solely, only me.
All these epiphany moments are going to come from you.
But I actually was only in that job for like 9 months, because I got tendinitis in my wrist from being a barista, which I then had to have medical attention on, steroid injections to relieve that pain. So I was off sick for a little bit.
Wow.
Because of that. I mean, it sounds very dramatic.
It is dramatic. It's so painful.
It's so painful.
It's horrible.
But I basically took some time off sick because I needed to rest it. And then I ended up having the steroid injection because it just wouldn't, even with rest, go away. And it's such a vital thing to be able to be a barista that my wrists don't hurt every time I slightly tweak it.
Yeah, and in life, your wrists are quite important, generally. This is
the serious bit now, Rosie. This is the important bit, is that people just don't take being left-handed serious enough.
This is why you need an injection.
This is why I had to have a steroid injection in my wrist, because no one thinks about those left-handed people.
When they're designing coffee machines.
When they're designing coffee machines.
Or workflow.
I mean, it's getting better, obviously. People are being more inclusive of left-handed people, but...
On coffee machines?
On coffee machines. Well, you now have the ones that you put in and lift up. Not that I really think like that's necessarily the best, but removing a portafilter by twisting it to the left as a left-handed person is a pull motion, not a push motion. That and tamping is the cause of my poorly wrist.
It's important for us to give awareness to these issues, 100%, and you are not being dramatic. As someone who is a right-handed person, and coffee machines were designed for me, knowing how painful that was.
Did you know that sewing machines were designed by a left-handed person and they're actually left-handed? Fun facts.
Right, so what I'm now attributing my worst GCSE grade, despite the fact that I had my sights set on being a fashion designer, was in textiles because I was right-handed.
There you go.
Is what we're saying.
I'm so sorry.
Well,
I'm not that
sorry. It was
sorry.
always doomed. In terms of next steps after tendinitis and life as a left-handed person.
I quit my job and went travelling.
Quit your job and went travelling?
2017 was my year of,
self-discovery.
It was a year of doing things that scared me. Quitting my job, terrifying.
Yeah.
Going solo travelling for 5 weeks around Europe, interrailing, terrifying. Getting a tattoo, mortifying, very scared of needles.
Mortifying! But you did it.
But I did it. I got a little bee on my knee because I'm the bee's knees.
Yeah, got it. Love that.
And did lots of things that my friend gave me a copy of the book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I really just the title. No, I read it and it really did impact me, especially I think coming from that specific friend. It meant a lot, and I felt very seen that a lot of my life anxiety had stopped me from doing brave things.
Right.
And so this was a case of her being like, feel that,
Yeah.
do it anyway.
It's so empowering. I know, like, I mean, I'm sure people have been telling us our entire lives, do one thing every day that scares you.
Sure, no thanks.
And I think, I think because it's like this phrase that just gets overused, I don't know, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But I do think there comes a time in your life where it kind of clicks. For me, it wasn't that long ago. Of like, actually, there comes this such a good sense of fulfillment from just going, yeah, I'm noticing that's absolutely terrifying, but I'm just going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then you have this reflection moment afterwards and go, oh, isn't that really cool? Like how it was still scary at the time, maybe. And sometimes maybe you don't feel amazing afterwards, but you still did it. And like what that says about I'm creating this like loop of like my own validation of myself that's not from an outsider's perspective, which is important.
Yes, I love that.
So good.
Yeah, I think I was going to say I think it's really interesting that a lot of people say to me, oh, you're such a confident person. But I just think it's important people know that I'm riddled with anxiety. I just choose to do the thing anyway. Not always.
Yes.
Not always.
Yeah, you've got to assess that as well.
I definitely spend a lot of time worrying about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But still throw myself into it anyway, professionally.
And does it get easier each time? Or is it still the same level of like...
I think so. I think it gets easier because, or I'm just in a constant state of like,
But no one would ever know.
But no one's going to know.
No one would ever know.
But I think it does get easier the more you do something. It's like practicing something, isn't it? But then I
100%.
throw myself into something new, like recording a podcast.
Here we are today. And it's happening.
Yeah.
It is happening.
But whilst I was travelling, being terrified, I received a message on LinkedIn from a recruiter. I got a lot of those kind of messages from recruiters that were hiring for Costa managers because of my experience at Starbucks, I assume, that was on LinkedIn. But a lot of them were automated. They were just like copy and pasted, like... nowadays it would have been AI generated, but back then it was not.
Just a copy and paste.
Just a copy and paste. Sometimes they hadn't even changed the name on it.
Oh, fantastic. Great.
But this one was different. It was like quite personalised, and I could tell that it wasn't copy and pasted. And it was from a recruiter, because I had no idea leaving that job what I was going to do. I just knew that I wanted to go do some exploring, go do something that challenged me, and that I'd figure it out when I got home. Again, very privileged position to be in, to be able to do that. When I got home, this message was on LinkedIn, and I replied to it, and it was for a job as a barista trainer, and I was like, that's a job.
What do you mean?
What job did you just make up? A barista trainer?
Yeah.
Because I'd always thought that there was only one linear path within coffee or within hospitality, and that was barista, supervisor, manager, maybe regional manager or general manager, and then owner.
Yeah. Well, why would you know different to that?
And even though I'd interacted with Tom, who did my barista training at Darkwoods, and all the other suppliers that we worked with when I worked in that specialty coffee shop that were different roasteries, I hadn't really thought about that as being part of like a potential career progression. So I met with this recruiter, and they were representing Matthew Algie, which is a UK-wide but Glasgow-based coffee roastery who supplied to lots of some independents, but also a lot of like chains. And they were hiring more barista trainers to work on the Marks and Spencer's account. So
incredible.
A regional job that came with a business, phone, laptop, company car,
Whoa.
a salaried job.
I mean,
Like,
I'm saying,
in
whoa.
the coffee industry, a salaried job.
Yes. No, but I mean, it probably sounds a bit sarcastic that I'm being like, whoa, but like genuinely, for whatever reason, and maybe like what we've just said, this idea is like, oh, it's this and then this and then this and then this, and that's all that exists. You do go, what do you mean? Like, I can do that in this thing that I already like know how to do.
Yeah.
It's very real. But also, before we move on, because I just want to say the power of LinkedIn. So, as someone who massively struggles, I have to force myself to post each episode of the podcast on LinkedIn because I'm like, you know what? I could get a few listeners from there that aren't going to be on my Instagram.
I lap it up.
I still struggle to even know how to click on to. So inefficient at even using the thing that I'm like, how do I post a video on here? What am I doing? Genuinely, I've always seen you as someone who also is probably the only person I ever see that they've posted on LinkedIn. I'm like, I am going to read this. It's going to be good.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
You're very good at like posting stuff that you've been doing. This is intended as a compliment. Stuff that I wouldn't have even thought was like post worthy.
Sure.
But you've made it into an engaging post that I'm like, no, I love reading that. And that makes me think, oh no, there's like value in these things every day and value in telling people about what you're doing, because also if people don't know what you're doing, it's important for exposure, for progression, for people knowing who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
So can you give me some sort of advice?
God, no. LinkedIn and Instagram have basically been my CV for the past maybe 6 or 7 years of my career. I haven't actually updated my CV, my like physical printed paper.
Going in a plastic sleeve.
Going in a plastic sleeve or saved as a PDF. CV since I got my next job after mathology, which was for the National Trust as a barista trainer internally. And actually, was that a CV? That might have been an application form. But yeah, I was going to say fortunately, or I don't know if it is fortune, I since then have got my this job and my last job based on people within the industry knowing what I'm up to and knowing a little bit of like who I am from how I present myself on social media from LinkedIn and Instagram. So I guess it started when I was in like a regional barista trainer job, and I was traveling around visiting customers and training across the North and Northern Ireland. I would go and visit different independent coffee shops, and when I had to stay over, I would always go and, you know, if my dinner's going to be expensed, I might as well spend it in like a really cool restaurant that I've heard about. So that's kind of how I explored, and I documented a lot of that on Instagram initially, and then I started documenting, like taking pictures with the teams that I was training and kind of posting about that, and taking pictures of the coffees that my trainees had poured, and like to be able to document their progression. Kind of transferred onto LinkedIn as well to kind of talk about what I'd been up to, where I'd been training, what the training session was about, or why, I'm not sure. I think it just felt almost like I was blogging maybe. I know that it has been a creative outlet for me. I did notice that on LinkedIn, there wasn't a lot of coffee people on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely.
People actually really hate LinkedIn, which is fine.
But you're making it more of an acceptable place to be because you're making it less corporate and...
I don't know, I still, throw in a cheeky like, delighted to have been able to attend this event. As you should. But I mean, half the stuff I see on LinkedIn, sometimes I'm just like, well, I don't even know half the acronyms you're using. Oh, and, for sure.
That's what I mean by corporate. But you're doing the good work.
Well, thank you. Well, thank
you're who I aspire to be.
I also don't want people running to start using LinkedIn, because the less people that use it, the louder your voice is.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay.
So actually, you should don't do LinkedIn. It's boring. It's just full of corporate stuff. You don't want it. Did it help me get the last 2 jobs? Sure.
Yeah.
Also, my job at Matthew Algie, because it was a recruiter that reached out to me on LinkedIn.
Yes. And before that, I mean, I think a lot of people, I certainly wouldn't have thought of starting a LinkedIn when I was working in cafes.
Yeah.
I just would have thought it was pointless. But obviously not.
I think it's because the people around me, like not all of my friends and family are from this industry, and so if I saw other people using it around me,
Yeah.
and was like in that era of having every single social media you can get hands on,
Yeah.
being like, oh, this is interesting, this is social media but business.
Business, yeah. It's very
And
business.
yeah, uploaded my CV onto it, or my, education history, my qualifications or whatever. I actually refer back to that all the time. Like when I need to write down my business history or my career history rather, or something, I'll be like, 1 second, and I'll look back on LinkedIn because it's there.
Yes.
That's the most reliable source for it.
It's hard to remember when you have to sit down and so if it's already there. And also that sometimes means people don't even need to ask you for it, because there it is.
Yeah,
You can have a little look.
Exactly.
Oh.
Where have you worked before? Just check my LinkedIn, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't ask me, ask LinkedIn.
Don't want to skim over the M&S before we move on to next bits that we've alluded to, just because what we were talking about before is very prevalent in that whole thing of having a work phone and a work car, and like being a trainer for Marks and Spencer's, even just within your family, like that's this like tangible concept of like Marks and Spencer's there, you know.
People were like, oh, you have a real job now.
Yes.
I was like, I'm sorry, I've been busting my ass.
Yes. Literally breaking my body.
Literally for years in this career.
Yes.
And these jobs, and now I've got a real job.
Yeah. Which is good to highlight, because
to be fair though, one of the reasons I took it as well is because of that thing of being like, oh, now I have a job people will be able to understand, or people will be able to accept, or I'll stop getting pitiful looks by customers, or what are you hoping to do with your career? Oh, I actually really like this. I'd love to keep doing this. Oh, no.
It's still mind-blowing to me when I hear other people's experiences of someone saying that stuff in a cafe. I've experienced it myself, people being like, oh, so what are you studying? Nope, I've not been in university for a while. And I remember one specific occasion when I was working at a cafe in London. Lawyers and bankers were the main clientele that used to come in several times a day. There was someone new that had started, and this woman that would come in sometimes once, twice a day. I don't think she thought she was being rude, which I don't know makes it better or worse. She had asked a similar question to this new person that started, and was like, oh, like, what do you do? Like, and she's kind of like, well, I do this.
I'm
like,
doing it right now.
This is my day to day. And she said something like, oh, but don't get stuck here, will you? And I just thought, I mean, I also like just took that on board myself. And I think as someone who has, as I said before, like my family's only ever worked in hospitality, and I just thought, well, actually, this could be someone's dream job. Well, who the hell are you to, in your line of work, tell someone, actually, this isn't where you should be?
I've had so many customers try and like save me, try and like give me mentorship or apprenticeships, or being like, you're clearly too like smart to be working here. And I'd be like, excuse me. That is, I mean, first of all, thank you. But second of all, that's so rude.
It's so rude.
How dare you imply that this kind of job, this is one of the most skilled jobs there are.
Having to deal with people like you. That is the most skilled job of all.
Honestly.
No, it is, honestly, hospitality is the hardest job I've ever done. It's hard.
It is.
Mentally and physically,
That's
as we
why
know.
I don't do anymore. I teach.
Teaching is also not for everyone.
True.
Not for me.
It's so fun
We
though.
The problem I used to have is like, I'd have these two things that were happening. I'd be saying something, and then there's this other inner dialogue going in my head, which would freak me out so much. And I'd be looking and I'm like, how do you know what you're saying? Because you're looking at these people and looking at you and you're saying something, but actually, how are you talking to yourself in your head right now? Oh.
The level of multitasking is high.
That is really something.
And then when you have to do it whilst they're also they're an open business and they're serving.
Ooh, which you know
Challenging.
well, because you were auditing Marks and Spencer's.
It was, yeah.
And you had a great amount of power because you became, in some establishments,
Feared.
Scary.
Yeah, so we as a barista trainer team, so I worked for Matthew Algier, but M&S was our customer, and I looked after a certain region of like part of the north, and I would go in once a quarter to every single Marks and Spencer's cafe in my region, do a quality audit that we called a health check, to not be terrifying. It would be a surprise, like they didn't know I was coming. They knew I'd come once a quarter, but they didn't know when. And I would have to check their cleaning, time customer transaction and wait times. I would have to check that they dialed in their espresso correctly. As my time there went on, there was other things that we were asked to also kind of like check, like POS, or that customer service included specific questions at the till point and things like that. Once I filled in the online form with how well they did, it would provide them a score, which was basically a pass or a fail. And if they failed, I would then have to deliver training on the points which they didn't succeed at.
Okay.
So like the main criteria. So I eventually got a reputation within the business, within my region rather. I don't think I was unfair. I'd just like to preface that. I didn't go in, but I think anyone who is an auditor, you have to deliver bad news. You know, I would have managers who thought that their cafe was like gonna definitely get 100%, and I would fail them on like something that one of their team did, and they'd be so pissed off with me. They'd be so upset with me, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, there was times when people cried, and I didn't like that, but really it's because they were caught in lies. And there was one time when I walked into the back office to deliver the feedback to the manager, and I saw my ID picture printed out and pinned on the wall with what did it say? What did they call me? It was like, you'd get called like the coffee girl, or basically it was like my face, and in red letters it was just like, watch out for the coffee lady. And I was like, oh, this is how far it's come. Like,
watch out for
the coffee lady. I think I'm making this sound like I was feared more than I was. I wasn't. It's being audited that people don't like.
That sounds like that's something you had to tell yourself a lot. Is this what? I mean, but in terms of being like resilient and like still going and doing what you just had to do for your job, I mean, you don't want to walk into somewhere and be like, hello, it's me again, and then they're like, oh God, like what a horrible existence to have to, it's your job, it's got nothing to do with them, it's not you that's making them upset, but it's still not nice. It's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot.
It was a lot, but I also had so much power.
Which is
good.
A fantastic place to be powerful, Marks and Spencer's.
Yes. But at the end of the day, I got, the job was quite repetitive. There wasn't space within that business I I don't know, maybe like 7 trainers on my team and 7 trainers on another team that were doing other businesses and independents and like same like auditing and training.
Yeah.
And there was only like 1 regional manager and 1 national manager. So in terms of it being somewhere for movement within the business, it was more limited. Sure. You know, a lot of people either like stayed and waited for there to be somewhere to progress to for what could potentially be many years.
Fair.
So it became more of a place back then to be a bit of a transitional window, like a transitional job for people to become barista trainers and then move on. Like most people were about 2-3 years in that job.
I mean, it sounds like a great kind of way to be doing that in a transitional kind of stepping stone to the next bit. When that next bit for you was with the National Trust.
It was, yeah.
Do you think that's a bit of an antidote to like what you were doing in
100%
very different landscapes?
Like literally, I was getting quite tired of the repetitive nature of going into retail parks or into high streets and seeing the same like sale signs, like Christmas sale. That's just quite vivid for me that, you know, you're going into these high streets and retail parks where it's all the same shops, and they, as much as I love shopping, as we discussed,
you do,
and all the same, just big signs trying to get you to buy things, and harsh lights, and
the lights.
A lot of Marks Spencer's cafes are at the top floor, right at the back, where it's dark and there's no windows.
Yes.
Or at least in the areas of, like, in the towns that aren't as affluent, that's the case, where they've not had as much investment.
Right.
Or, you know, it was just kind of getting to me. It was kind of getting on my soul.
Yeah.
And then I was literally Googling barista trainer jobs, and one came up at the National Trust, and I loved that I went from retail parks and high streets to national parks and deer sanctuaries and these old historical buildings that had coffee shops in the stables or in the dining room of this like Tudor house.
I mean, it couldn't be more different.
Very different.
Surrounding it, like what you're surrounding yourself with every day, is important, right?
Similar
important.
Customer though. A Marks and Spencer's customer and a National Trust Cafe customer, similar age group, similar demographic. So very transitional in that respect of what kind of service was being offered, what kind of quality of coffee was being offered, that kind of thing. But this team was very, very new, and actually what the job was alongside going around and training, there was no auditing, thank goodness. But there was, at that point when I joined the National Trust, there wasn't like a standardised way of working. So reflecting on being at Starbucks, where it's very copy and paste it's the same layout bar, it's the same machines, it's the same ingredients, same drinks, it's the same cups. On contrast, the National Trust is very vast, but at that point they didn't have, you know, if you go in a Starbucks and you order a latte in one city and go to another, they're going to be identical, or at least they should be. If you do that back then at a National Trust property, you would get a completely different drink because there hadn't been a lot of support for the teams, and also there was like a change in structure within the charity of how hospitality worked, and it was becoming centralised at the time that I joined. So I also helped to create standard operating procedures and drinks recipes and advising on which cup they should buy in, because using glass cups, for example, was not very fashionable anymore. And in one site you would have that, in another site you would have a ceramic mug, like things like that. As well as coffee quality, machinery, cleaning the machines, and just trying to get a consistent approach to coffee and front of house service across all National Trust sites.
Which really draws on so much of your experience as well, from being at Starbucks to being at Matthew Algae. Which is important.
Yes.
And you're seeing like why that's important for these massive places, that there is consistency between them, and then you're in these spaces that are quite unique from place to place, but you need to bring the consistency
well,
in the
that's
coffee.
what I was going to say. Any multi-site operation, you want each site to have its own kind of personality. Like when I was at Starbucks in Leeds, there was probably about 7 or 8 Starbucks cafes in Leeds city centre, but they all were different because their customer was different. Some of them were based in like the financial part, like the financial region. Some were in the city centre shopping hub. Some were. I was in a train station, which was like a completely different beast. And any multi-site operation is going to cater to different types of customers. So there needs to be a level of personality to it, but then also your customer should be able to go from one site to another one and receive the same standard of quality.
Yeah.
And you should be meeting their expectations.
Yeah.
Wherever they go.
Yeah. Important. Very important. So how was your time there? Because quite surprising to me when I found this out, you like went to Origin.
I did.
While you were at the National Trust.
Yeah. Which we don't talk about.
Okay.
No, I'm joking.
Would you like me to take that bit out?
No. I'm only joking. So I really loved that job at the National Trust. I really loved it. It was difficult at times because I was furloughed during COVID. I was furloughed for 9 months, and then I had to reapply for my job because the team got halved. So that was quite a fraught time. And then for a year after that, we worked from home, but I really got the chance to develop training materials, so create physical and online training materials to be able to support the training that we were delivering as a team. Sure. And also to make it easier now that our regions had doubled because we were 4 instead of 7. I really loved working for a charity that looked after things that were important to me. So the outdoors and art and history and all these special places. And I really loved that every time I was training someone, well, it's twofold. I love training people because I love to help them develop their skills and potential careers. But I also loved doing it for any time that I helped a coffee shop improve their sales. Like that money went back into the charity.
Yes.
So that felt good that everything 100%. I was doing had like this multi-pronged kind of approach to...
Hello!
We should do this with the lights off.
Yeah, well, they'll still try and get in probably. Sorry, yes.
You good?
You're putting money back into the right place that was important to you, which is important.
Yes.
Because that must be very valuable.
Yeah,
to your
it feels
existence.
Good, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't just making a rich person richer.
Yeah.
I know that the National Trust comes with controversies, but it really did feel like I was positively contributing to the world doing that, so that was really nice. So I really loved it, and I also felt like within the charity I'd be able to perhaps like move into different departments, either within the food and beverage department or with like going into project management, or you know, maybe go into the L&D department as a trainer. Like going into learning education was a potential opportunity, you know. So I liked that for its possibilities. It felt good doing what I was doing. I really loved my team. I had an amazing manager who I try and emulate now as a manager. And I learned a lot as well. As I said, I always say that about jobs, but I did, and I really loved it, and I wasn't intending on leaving.
Okay.
Until I got an opportunity.
Offer.
Oh wait, I was going to talk about the going to Origin.
Well, I didn't press you on that because I thought maybe you actually did mean like we don't talk about it. I was like, okay, right, fine.
The reason I said that is because the optics of someone from the National Trust, from a charity, going on a trip to Brazil for a week to go look at and learn about how coffee is produced.
Yes.
Would be a delight for like the likes of like the Daily Mail. They
Okay.
would eat that up.
Well, they are my usual listeners.
Yes,
So.
as I thought, which is why it's time to finally talk about the...
Oh my God.
I think it's because it would be, if it was just, I'm probably making a bigger deal out of this than it is, but I was told not to necessarily talk so openly about it back then, just because it's a hard thing to kind of explain.
Sure.
The opportunity was not paid for by the National Trust.
Okay.
The coffee supplier to the National Trust, paid for it all.
Right, so
as
fine.
a gift. Yeah.
Daily Mail, get off our backs.
But I was actually 5th in line to go on the trip.
Wow.
I capped a lot of knees that year. No. The trip was offered to the buyer, and he turned it down because he was like, this should go to someone from the coffee team.
Oh, nice.
It then went to the product development manager who looked after the coffee, but his partner was about to have a baby that month, so he was like, I think she might murder me if I leave to go to Brazil for a week and a half.
Not that easy to get back.
So he passed it on to the barista trainer lead, my manager, who was moving house that month, and she was like, I can't deal with this added level of stress of going to Brazil for a week and a half. So it got passed down to us barista trainers. One of my colleagues had already been to a coffee farm before, so he said no to it immediately. And mine and my other colleague, our names got put in a hat. His name got pulled out of the hat. And I was like, that's, fair enough, that's great. I'm so pleased for him. We went away for the long Easter weekend and came back, and I'd spent some of that time over that weekend with my friend, who was telling me all about how she'd been to Brazil, and it was really scary. She'd been into the jungle, basically, part of her research for a PhD, and she was telling me about how dangerous it felt and all the creepy crawlies, because I'm really bad with bugs. Same. And about, she was basically like emphasizing the negative parts of her trip in order to make me feel better that I didn't get the opportunity. Anyway, we came back, and my colleague had not had a great time with his anxiety all weekend and was like, I can't live like this for another 2 months before I go. So he gave it up. And then I was like, oh no!
Now I know all these scary things about Brazil.
But obviously I was going to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Of course, because you learned this earlier in life.
So, so I said yes, and had an incredible all expenses paid trip to Brazil. I cried a lot because I'd spent so long talking about coffee production and teaching people about processing methods and how coffee's grown and where coffee is grown. And then I was actually there drinking coffee that was grown on the farm that I was stood on. And I wept and I wept.
Oh, it's emotional.
And I got a nosebleed.
Oh my God. From crying so much.
Maybe, or altitude. Well, no, it wasn't that high. Maybe it was just from crying so much.
God.
But
wow. Transformative.
Yes.
For your further coffee journey.
I unlearned so much and relearned so much in that. There's so much that I had been teaching people because I'd heard it. And so I was just teaching what I was told to teach.
Yeah.
So then to go and see it, I was like, oh, I've actually been spreading misinformation.
But how else would you know? Unless you go there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And in regard to your next step, that also was a coffee. The coffee farm you went to was a coffee farm that next business bought from.
Yeah.
So it's quite a full circle.
Yeah.
Maybe a meant to be moment.
Yeah.
But before getting ahead of ourselves, just going back to the LinkedIn and this personal brand kind of concept that you've been building up over the years, because the next job that came your way, you again didn't apply for.
No.
It was offered to you, which is very exciting, but I guess also just brings into light, the coffee industry's way of doing things.
Yes.
And I think it's good we know that this is how it can work sometimes, because I think that's also something people can really use to their advantage. Not necessarily like waiting for someone to come and offer you a job that doesn't exist, but like a lot of these jobs don't exist. People can often just be waiting for the right person to come along so that they can see that person, that role. And I think there's a way of it being the other way around, right? Of being like, here's the things I'm really good at. Let me see if someone wants someone who does those things.
Yeah.
Potentially. Good to know. But
I don't think it's fair that the industry works like this. I don't think that it's fair that sometimes it's right place, right time, or that you have to make people aware that you're interested in working for them. I don't want to be like, but it is what it is.
But it is.
But I learned that it's that way a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then once I understood that that's how it works, I'm not saying that I've always been going around like whispering in people's ears being like, bah, 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 but I guess like once I acknowledged that that's how it works, it really pushed me to present myself further on social media, to know that that counts.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
it can count, and also to be at all the events I could go to be at all the festivals, to talk to people.
Yeah.
Nerve-wracking. I remember going to Glasgow Coffee Festival and I knew 2 people in that whole room. And I used them as anchors.
Yeah.
So I went over to Lizzie, who works for Origin, and I was like, Lizzie,
what am I
it's really scary. and I barely knew her. I knew her a little bit at that point. You know, at London Coffee Festival, I'd go over to Southworth, who was doing a barista shift for a roastery at the festival. And I'd be like, Soph, where is everyone going to the party tonight?
But now you, like, I can safely say, like, you are that person for people in the room, right?
I want to be.
Well, you are.
I want to be. I want people. I've spent a lot of years on the outside looking at this circle, this specialty coffee circle of people. It wasn't until I got the job at Red Bank that people actually started talking to me properly. I spent a lot of years. I've been working in coffee now for 15 years, and I spent a lot of that time wanting to be in that conversation but not feeling like I could, or not feeling invited to, and I would actually go and put myself. I remember at Manchester Coffee Festival walking up to this group of guys that were all stood around laughing, and I knew like 2 of them kinda, and I walked over and I stood. I'd had a couple of wines, and I stood there and it was awkward, but I made myself part of the conversation.
Wow. That's really impressive.
Yeah. Well,
no, it is, because I don't even think I would.
I think it was out of I was annoyed. I was annoyed that there was this like
Yeah, why do you all get to be in
this
a
little
circle
club
together?
going on,
And
and
I'm
I
gonna be
wasn't a
part
part
of
of
the
it.
club.
And I was like, I deserve to be part of that club.
You do, absolutely.
So I went and I put myself in that position. I don't know, maybe I'm stupid.
But this perception that comes with, like, the company that you work for, because you were already going to coffee festivals when you worked at the National Trust,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, might be projecting because I feel this very deeply as well, but I felt this being able to compare a London Coffee Festival working with one company with the next London Coffee Festival working with another company, which actually was the years when it was the one right after COVID in 2021, so it was in September, and then the next one was in March, and I was at a different company, and the first time was with a small roastery. I was very eager to talk to people because I was very excited that I was in this position that I could do that, but also we'd just come out of COVID, so I hadn't talked to anyone for quite a while anyway, so I was just like very excited, going around the Roasters Village trying to talk to everyone, and to be honest, most people didn't really care. I then contrasted that with being at a company that is held in very high regard and was one of the main sponsors of the London Coffee Festival, and it was my job to now go around and talk to everyone, and it was really weird because I remember like noticing, I was like, as soon as I said where I worked, people changed, like their body language changed, their expression changed, they suddenly wanted to talk to me more, they were suddenly, and I thought, hang on a minute, this is really bizarre because I'm the same person.
I've been here this whole time, guys.
I've been trying to talk to you the whole time. It's crazy. And it comes down to perception. And I think also you have to be quite resilient when that happens, because it's very hard then not to tie all of your worth to that company and become like this person that works for this company, and your inherent value is just being Rosie at La Mazzocco, at Red Bank. Which is hard.
Yeah, I think like I've been quite purposeful to talk about myself in jobs as I currently work for this business. And that's not me trying to say because I'm looking to not work here anymore. It's me trying to say that I am a coffee professional and I'm currently working at this business, and I, for example, right now, I really align with all the values and everything that North Star's doing. I'm fully drinking the Kool-Aid. It's amazing. But I am a coffee professional in my own right, and all my experience and all of my everything that I've done to grow my, let's say, position in this industry is work that I have done.
Yeah.
And so I'm really conscious that I don't want to be North Star B.
Yeah.
I'm, I don't know why I really think that's important. I think I don't want to give all of myself to my job.
Yes, that is important. And I think something not you, but just anyone has to like work at, because it can become very easy to, just be validated by doing a certain amount of work at work and people knowing you as this person. And like, you need to have a separation of your own identity, right? But it's hard to do, and I think especially hard to do when, like we say, you've been building up this personal brand of yours, which is very useful for the situation we're talking about someone coming and saying to you, I want you to work for me.
Yes.
Which, by the way, let's not take away from that how amazing that is. And obviously they did that because you are amazing, and they wanted you to work for them. That doesn't happen to everyone.
No.
So like, let's not go, oh, that's not how things should be, because everyone needs a fair opportunity. It still happened, and you got that because of everything that you had done. So what we're saying is a bit of a double-edged sword, maybe, of like, we're saying, oh, you don't want to be the person that just works for this company and that becomes your identity, because they actually gave you, offered you the job because of what you'd built, and them noticing that you were someone incredible in your own right.
Thanks.
But this like personal brand thing, it comes a lot from Instagram, it comes from LinkedIn, it comes from who you are and being able to insert yourself into situations in a room full of people, which is very hard, which is amazing, and it's all really incredible networking stuff. But that can be a blurry line, because it also gives people this direct line of communication to you, which can be less than helpful.
Yeah, I definitely love and hate Instagram, as most people do, because it's a really good way to be able to present myself, both personally and as a coffee professional. And it's a really good tool within the kind of jobs that I've had for the past couple of years in kind of like customer relationships and partnerships. And it's a really good tool to be able to have this communication with my customers and other people in the industry by engaging with their content and by being able to comment on things that they're doing, which is very earnest. This isn't me saying it's all falsified. This is a genuine interest in wanting to engage with what people are doing and support those businesses. Like, part of my job is to support our customers' businesses, and that's a really good way to do that. But what that does mean is, because that's also it's a personal Instagram page, is that when when it's Friday and it's 9 p.m. and I'm laid in bed with a couple of biscuits and I'm like got a little biscuit like balanced on my chest like it's a plate, and I'm scrolling through Instagram just like mindlessly trying to like relax.
Yeah.
You know, I can receive a message from a customer. A past experience has been, you know, I forgot to message you. I'm running out of coffee. Can I get some coffee tomorrow? I'm like, first of all, it's Friday at 9 p.m. and now I'm thinking about work. And people say, well, why don't you just ignore it? And I'm like,
how could you?
A notification on my on my app, or even read it and then deal with it. No, because then I'm having to remember that I have this message that I have to deal with, or then I have to be like, okay, well, they need coffee tomorrow and I'm not working until Monday, and no one's in the roastery actually until Monday. So now I need to
solve this problem
at 9 p.m. on a Friday night, or I quite often I've said in that situation, it's kind of like I'd message the boss and be like, they need some coffee, and he lived around the corner from the roastery, so he'd be able to do that. Or I'd have to be like, can you please send me an email about this?
Yes,
so that
that's
I can,
a good one.
So that I can pick this up when I am next at work. And people are apologetic, and a lot of the time it's because if I'm talking to a business owner, a cafe owner, or you know, maybe an engineer or someone, they don't have clocking in and out hours. They own a business. They're working every second that they're breathing.
Yes.
So for them, there isn't, and this isn't a complaint, this is just an acknowledgement that actually, you know, they are like, oh, I need to message B about this thing.
Yeah, just because it's on their mind, they've got to do it now, that's what they're doing. There's no separation for them.
Right. So I understand it. But it means that then there is this grey area for me with using this tool, this social media tool, to be able to do my job, but then also to switch off. And I've tried to delete it, and I've tried to walk away from it, but really it helps me to do my job, and it's helped me with my career so much. Like, how do I let that go?
Probably a big part of the reason that people are not even thinking about it when they're messaging you at whatever time out of work hours is because you've built up the way to do that well is by building up this very authentic, genuine portrayal and rapport of yourself online that people trust and want to engage with and feel that you're their friend.
And that's a genuine, that's how I feel too.
Yeah, but then there has to be a line, which is very hard.
And also, I'm liking their posts at 9 p.m. on a Friday. Yeah. You know, I'm guilty here too. I'm messaging, commenting on things, or engaging with their business at any hour of the day.
Yeah.
Because it's coming up on my feed, and you respond when it's there on your feed. You don't go, oh, this customer's posted a story. I should bookmark that till Monday morning when I'm at work. You know?
Honestly, do you know what? Sometimes when something flashes up on Instagram at the top, and then you, for some reason, it accidentally refreshes.
And then it refreshes, and you're like,
and I'm thinking,
no,
hang on, what was that? I wanted to see whatever that was. Where's it gone? I don't even know who it was. So yeah, it's a constant conundrum.
And I think it will continue to be until I learn to switch off Instagram during my social hours.
But easier said than done.
Very much.
Because it's not as black and white as like, I'm at work, I'm not at work. It's
also my hours are not standard.
Yeah.
I'm not a 9 till 5 person. So some nights I am working at 8, 9 p.m.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can't be like, how dare you message me at this time on a Friday night, because there might be times when I am working at that time of night.
Yeah.
You know, the responsibility isn't on that person. Maybe it is a little bit, but it's kind of how I manage my social media use, really. Should I be scrolling and eating biscuits at 9 p.m. on a Friday night? You know,
but it feels so good.
It feels so good.
That is downtime at its finest. Absolutely. Realise we've just kind of skimmed over Red Bank as being like, oh, Red Bank B. But yeah, I mean, so that was the last last step in your journey before we ended up here at
Yes.
North Star.
Yeah.
You built something so strong there of, for better or for worse, people knowing who you are as someone in the specialty coffee industry. Was that, you were like realistically one of the only people being like really forward facing at that business, and the only woman?
Yes. So I was hired because I'm someone who doesn't mind to be, I like to host events, I like talking to people, I am an extroverted person. So Tom, who owns Red Bank, told me that he identified that within the business, and at that time there was only 2 of them, like that was maybe like a skill set that was lacking, or that they didn't have prominent. So he was looking for someone to be able to do a kind of role within their business who can do the customer outreach, really put themselves out there to be able to host cuppings and train customers, and to be able to engage with the wider industry.
100%. Which you are a perfect fit for.
Thank you.
Did that begin to feel like it was less aligned with your, when we're coming back to this personal value piece?
I think I'd worked in so many different sizes and types of businesses at this point within the industry. I'd gone from specialty to like commercial coffee training. I worked in a charity, working in a coffee job, and I'd been on Origin trips. I, at Red Bank, had the opportunity to go on 4 more Origin trips, which has been exceptional opportunity, and also to be able to get my AST qualification, to be able to deliver Specialty Coffee Association training courses. All of that was an incredible 2.5 years of learning, developing experiences, travelling across the UK, going to all different coffee festivals. But we were, Red Bank is a very small team, which surprised a lot of people that it is. But there was 4 of us at the time, and I was starting to feel that maybe I was better suited to work in somewhere that was a little bit bigger, for a little bit more diversity in a team, for different, I think I've been used to working at places that had historical structures in terms of ways of working, or even paperwork, or sometimes that's awful because that's a lot of red tape sometimes, but I think that the way I work best and the way I shine best is when I have parameters to work within. And with smaller independent businesses, you do find that you have to have quite an entrepreneurial spirit because a lot of, or from my experience anyway, there's a lot of need for being able to make business decisions yourself or create projects yourself, which I love to do, that basically get the business where it wants to be, right? And you work that out, and that's an amazing thing as well, to have the opportunity to be this is your responsibility, now do with it what you think needs to be done. And likewise could be said here at North Star. I know what the business strategy is, I know what my objectives are and everything, but I'm given this freedom to work out how to do it. But there's a lot more people to work collaborative with here, because this is a business with at least 40 people in it, and I'm part of teams of people who work collaborative on projects, and that's really nice to be able to bounce ideas off and to be able to develop the project or the idea with other people, and
to learn from, right?
And to learn from, and it breeds creativity as well.
100%. I've
done a lot of jobs that have felt quite isolating, whether that's because I was on the road 5 days a week, auditing people, and the only time I spoke to my colleagues and the rest of the team was on phone calls. So I guess I was starting to feel a little bit like, I don't know if this is where I want to be long term. And I wasn't looking for another job, but I was kind of being like, okay, well, I need to know what I want to do next. And I'm not saying all of this is like conscious thought either. I think sometimes hindsight illustrates things beautifully, but
Yeah, your subconscious, oh my God, absolutely.
yeah.
Just pointing you in a certain direction,
Yeah.
which, if I may be correct, was in this scenario you having a mentoring session
Yeah.
with Holes, who owns North Star.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is where we are today.
Which is where we are right now. So I saw on International Women's Day in 2025, Halls, who is co-owner of North Star, doing a face-to-camera piece on her stories, like a bit of a Q&A about North Star and being a woman in coffee. Within it, someone had asked, oh, do you offer any mentorship? And she'd said, no, not at the moment, but it is something that I would like to do in the future, is to mentor women within the industry, because she understood what it's like to be a woman in the industry and how that can be a challenge.
Yeah.
And she's been the only woman in many rooms for most of her career. So I was like, cool. So obviously I need to talk to Hulse. There's clearly I need to talk to her. So I left it a little bit, and then I messaged her on LinkedIn.
Hey.
Because I thought, well, we weren't connected on personal Instagram accounts. I didn't have her email or a number. I also feel like emails can get lost or go to spam. I didn't want to reach out to the North Star Instagram page, because you can't guarantee that the owner is the one who's running the Instagram page, those kind of things. So I was like, okay, well, all that leads to a DM on LinkedIn.
Yes. Yeah, our old friend keeps coming round.
So I sent her a message and was like, I saw that you said that you're interested in mentoring women. I'm sure you're incredibly busy. She was fresh back off maternity leave as well. I was like, but if you do have any time, I would really, really value it.
Amazing.
And
if you don't mind me asking, how was that like an easy message to send, or was that like a type it and then like just go away and make a cup of tea and then go, okay, I'm just gonna.
I think it was an easy message to write, because it's not the first time that I've sent that kind of message.
Okay.
A lot of them have been ignored.
Right.
Throughout I've messaged roasteries before asking if I can do. So back when I was a barista trainer, I'd been interested in moving into working for a roastery, and had messaged different coffee roasteries being like, can I come and do like a week of free labour working, so I can understand what it's like to work in a roastery.
Yeah, and they just
And
ignored
I've been
you.
ignored a lot.
Well.
So I guess like to write the message, fine. Did very much a quick like,
Yeah.
like the button's hot, like just send it before you have time to reread it 3,000 times and change too much of it and overthink it. I was just like, wrote it, sense checked it, sent it.
For me, I have to do those things in the morning because my morning brain is always very positive and it is very, I think it's when I feel my bravest. I can't do anything like that past 2 p.m.
Oh, interesting. I've not really thought about it.
In the evening, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I definitely thought afterwards, like, oh gosh, she's not going to have time. Like, gosh, she's very busy. Impressive woman, of course. But it's because I didn't know her personally.
But also, even if she was to think that, like, at the very least, she's just going to be flattered that you wanted to be mentored by her. Even if she was like, yeah, I don't have time. And it's also not a million miles away from what you've heard her say. So, like, you know, what is the worst that can happen realistically? Again, we're pre-2 p.m, so that's why this is in my head. Talk to me in the evening. I'm like, ugh.
She'd respond and say that she was very busy at that time, but to get back in touch with her in a couple of months. She was like, get back to me by the end of June and we'll sort something out.
Great.
But then she chased me before then, which felt amazing. She got my number off someone I know that she knows, and
just got a mystery text.
And I got a message from her. It was for London Coffee Festival, so it was May.
Okay.
Saying, I'm just arriving into London. I know I've seen on social media that you're here. Are you like, what's your plans? Are you about? And I was just getting the tube to get the train home at that point. And I called my partner Rory, and I was like, Halls is here in London. I'm knackered. I've been here 5 days. But like, would it be stupid to miss this opportunity? Blah blah blah. And he was like, this can wait. Like, you want to be your best self.
Yes.
To like have a conversation with her.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, okay, fine. So I said no, which felt so wrong.
But you were prioritizing yourself and wanting to give your best self to the situation, right? Which is such a commendable move to be doing as well. Like, you have to, we can have this mentality of like, you have to take every opportunity. But if you're not in the right headspace to take the opportunity,
don't want to ruin the opportunity.
Might just need to wait until you're like not overstimulated.
Yeah. So we arranged it. Turns out it was a 3-hour talk, so good job we didn't just try and do it on the fly in a coffee shop in London.
Yeah.
So came over to Leeds, and I guess within me talking about my career, I didn't discuss that I have left Leeds from working in Leeds. I then have moved to the Lake District during my time at Matthew Algie, and then where I've then lived in Lancaster since then. But so we like met up, and I really wanted to go into the conversation prepared.
Yeah.
I was like, this person is someone that I've always looked up to in the business, in the industry, and I really value her time to the extent that I don't want to waste her time. I really spent a couple of weeks trying to work out what I was trying to get out of this mentorship. I'd seen it was available, I swiped for it, but I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Which is funny, because it's like, you go into these sessions being like, I need to figure something out before I even get to them. When it's like, probably for that other person, they're going into it thinking like, this person needs assistance with knowing where to get to. But that can feel really scary, going into those sessions being like, I don't know, even though that's kind of what they're expecting, right?
Yeah, I think I wanted to make sure that, so I think there's different types of mentorship you can receive. Some of it can be like career guidance, where someone's just asking you, like trying to help you work out where you want to go with your career. It can be that you just need a sounding board, you just need someone to listen to you. Yeah. Or someone to go, I know how you feel, right? Sometimes it can be that there's like a specific challenge that you're trying to work through that someone could provide you mentorship for. It could be that you, like Halls and Cragco on North Star, it could be that she could give me mentorship on how to be a business owner. Like, all these things I felt like I needed to prepare. Anyway, I couldn't think of anything, got there and told her exactly that I'd tried to think about what to say and what I was hoping to get out of it, but I honestly didn't know. I just had all of this like cloud in my mind. And
best to be honest.
Fortunately, Halls is very prepared and came with questions to tease out of me what it is that I was trying to achieve. I think essentially I just needed a sympathetic and empathetic ear, and for someone to go, well, do you want to do this? And then we go, oh no, I don't want to do that. Okay, do you want to do this? Oh no, oh God, gross, no, I don't want to do that. Rather than being like, what do you want to do? I'm like,
that's a much more scary question, right? Process of elimination.
Yes. And also to help me understand what not necessarily what do you want to do in terms of what job do you want to do, but kind of more holistically, she helped me to realise that what I want to do is to contribute positively to this industry. So whether that's because by delivering training, I can contribute to people's skills development and careers, whether that's working for a business where I can see and understand that the sourcing of the product itself contributes positively. So whether that's where you put, buying it from, or what projects are supported through that relationship with importers, exporters and producers. Whatever it is that I do, it's what I loved about working for the National Trust, working for a charity. Like, I felt like I was positively contributing to many aspects. And so she helped me figure out that's what I want to do. And I was like, that's it, that's what I want. And that's what is going to help me find fulfillment in my career, is to be able to see how my actions, my day-to-day job has such a positive impact. During this conversation, the questions sort of changed subtly and got a little bit more direct and a little bit more trying to understand, the things I liked and disliked about, like, the different aspects of the jobs that I'd had so far, which I answered very honestly because this was a mentorship conversation.
Yes.
Where I was like, I'm sick of doing this and I don't want to do that anymore. And then it got to a point where she was like, so I want to hire you. And I was like, I want to work for you.
Wow.
But yeah, she was very conscious that she didn't want to poach me.
Well, is that poaching?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I don't know. No, I don't
definition.
know. But I
she
think
was just helping you find where you wanted to be.
What we realised within that conversation is that my personal values very much aligned with hers and thus the businesses, and everything that I appreciated and didn't appreciate in the industry is very much what the whole ethos of this business is.
Yeah.
So North Star's kind of tagline, or kind of the leading thing, is to build an industry that works for everyone, and that's from the baristas to the producers to everyone working the whole supply chain. And it's a big task, but it very much is important to me too. And so whichever part of the business I'm touching, I'm literally helping to positively contribute.
Well, with that being said, then surely anything here would have made sense. But there was a job going at that time, which you didn't apply for.
Yeah, it was a couple of months before, but there was a job as a wholesale manager, wholesale account manager, to in the sales team. She was like, "Why didn't you apply for that job?" And I was like, "Well, because I sew it, but I've never been a wholesale manager. I've never been an account manager." She was like, "That's exactly what you're doing where you are." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm a customer relationships manager and barista trainer. That's so different. Like, I don't have KPIs. I don't touch numbers. I don't do any of that." And she was like, "That's exactly what you're doing." I basically saw a job description of an account manager role and thought, I don't have the experience to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I understood very well that my contribution to that in a customer relationships manager role did it increase sales. Like, I saw that very clearly, but I didn't have anything to show for it in terms of being able to say, I've been able to create X amount of revenue, which I think is so it's this classic thing people talk about, right? That maybe a man will look at a job description and be like, I can do 3 out of 10 of those things, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
They'd be lucky to have me. And that maybe more often than not, a woman might look at that same job description and be like, I can only do 3 out of 10 of those things, so therefore I cannot do this job.
This is not for me. Yes.
And that had happened, basically, where I saw that job and was like, oh, well, I don't have a proven record of increasing sales or whatever. So, I mean, fortunately, things, I do believe in serendipity, and the person who did get that job is Luke, who's my wonderful colleague. And I'm not saying that I don't want to be up head to head with Luke. That wouldn't have been nice to have to compete with him against the job. So I'm glad that I didn't, because I would have won. No, because he would have. Who knows? Look. But I'm glad that didn't happen, because the job that I have got, which came out of a business need here at North Star and my skill sets, again aligning, is what is my job? Coffee partnerships and training manager, which sounds made up, and it is.
And was in this scenario kind of, again, someone offered you a job that didn't exist?
Yes.
Because they wanted you to work for them?
Yeah.
Which is what happened in this case.
Yeah.
With Halls.
Mm-hmm.
Which How does that feel? You know, like, because that is amazing.
It feels pretty good, actually. No, it does. It's really exciting, and I very much feel like I have to pinch myself that that's been the case. I used to say that opportunities have just presented themselves, but I now reflect back and say, no, actually, I worked really hard. I have, I do have a lot of imposter syndrome, and it really, I guess, has been validating to know that all the hard work that I've put into my career so far has, amounted to these kind of things happening. Yeah, as I said at the beginning, I don't necessarily think that it's fair that the industry works this way, but knowing that it does, I've really worked hard to put myself in positions where these opportunities come up, and it feels really nice that all that hard work that I've put into that has meant that people see value in me as a coffee professional. I once had an interview with a coffee roastery, and they called me a rare coffee professional in the area, and I was like, oh, she fancy. And that's really when I started using the word coffee professional to describe myself, because I was like,
use rare coffee professional. That is true. That is true.
But yeah, it feels good, to answer your question. It feels nice.
And how was this approached? Was it on the day when you were, or was it after?
There was further talk. So, it's a collaborative business here, and Halls is not the only person running the good ship. So, she needs to go away and talk about it. They had no intention of hiring anyone else last year, and they didn't have any intention in growing the business in that way, but there was a clear gap in what they were trying to achieve, and my skill set literally just slotted into it. So from my understanding, they felt like it was a no-brainer, but that still isn't an easy financial decision to make, to bring in a whole new employee. So yeah, we had further talks. We kept talking, because I also needed to make sure that I did want to take this job, that I did want to move from where I was, and that part of this job is that when I'm here in Leeds, I stay with family because I'm from around here, and do a couple of days at a time, but then also I spend time in working from home and working in Manchester and down in London, and so there is travelling as part of my job, and part of the responsibilities of my role. So I really had to weigh up if I was interested in doing that. But I think a common theme as well in my job, in my career, being able to say yes to things has been that there is a support network around me that means I can. So I didn't even ask my parents if I could go stay at their house when I'm here working in Leeds.
Sure.
I just knew that I would be able to, which I'm very fortunate to be able to do. Lovely. And when I took the job at Starbucks, I didn't ask my parents if they would drive me into Leeds city centre for my 6 a.m. start. But they did. So I feel very grateful and so I just feel really grateful that I was able to take these jobs because I had a support network around me to facilitate it.
100%. It is so important for where you're at in life, it can just be sometimes slightly different circumstances. It just wouldn't make something possible. So it is also good to acknowledge that there's things in place that make doing certain things a possibility, right? Definitely.
And it's all ingredients, right? It's all ingredients, the effort that I've put in, the opportunities, serendipity, the support network. There's not one thing that's built my career. It's the combination of all the ingredients that has helped me to get to where I am.
Absolutely. And it's been a absolute pleasure to get to know your story.
Thank you.
And the way that you've kind of moved through things, and I feel like I've already learned stuff from you and your story, and I'm sure other people will.
Hopefully.
As well. can't wait to see what happens with you here at North Star in the next 6 months, 12 months,
I know,
etc.
Yeah, watch this space.
Well, thank you, Bea, for
Thank
being
you.
on the podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I genuinely am very complimented by your invitation to be here. And thank you for creating this space as well for people's voices to be heard. I think it's really admirable and inspiring what you're doing, creating a space for people's voices to be heard that usually are not. And I'm being earnest.
Thank you very much. Honestly, yeah, it is my absolute pleasure, and it's also a great honour for you to be able to come on here. So thank you, and thank you for saying such kind words.
Yeah, anytime.
Right, that's it.
We did it.
Thanks,
Unseen.
Unseen.